And greetings, fellow thespians, or fans of the thespians, or thespian-adjacent people. Um, I am Gary Mitchell. I am the head shenanigator of the unofficial Certain Convention Theater and Live Performances group. Welcome, everybody watching live. Hello. Everybody watching on the YouTube in the future. Hello. And once again, I ask you to please tell us, how is the future? Is it nice? Is it warm? Because it's cold here. It's summer yet cold. I don't understand. So we are here today to do something nerds love to do, and that is determine what is better than what. So we have done through severe scientific study and careful consideration, figured out which Broadway shows should be thrown into a bracket system. I think it's a sports thing. I'm not entirely sure. But we're going to pit them against each other, and we will determine which shall be the ultimate victor. And if the show that you really, really love is not in the brackets, too bad. I mean, tell us in the comments and let us know for next time. And so joining us today, first, as always, is my lovely associate, Miss Sarah Rose.
Hi.
And then underneath her, hailing from the Northeast, the wonderful and talented Kevin. Tell people about yourself, sir.
Hey, everyone. I am a documentary filmmaker and a podcaster and a theater enthusiast. So very excited to break this down with everyone to figure out what DragonCon's favorite musical is.
All right.
Felicity, trust me, we can talk. I was fighting.
Get Felicity in here.
Yes, indeed.
Anyway.
And then directly beneath me, supporting me as always, the wind beneath my wings, from the heart of Broadway, from New York City, the indubitably talented, lovely Sue.
Hi. I'm Sue. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a Star Trek Sun, Muppets Moon, Sondheim Rising. Typically I show up and make things about Star Trek, but today, I mean, I am literally a Broadway professional. So I'm just going to say that the opinions I express on this panel do not reflect those of my employer.
Anyway.
All right. So
retweets are not endorsements.
All right. So I'm just going to working with the lovely presentation.
Woohoo!
All right. Where do you start this stupid
If
thing?
anybody points out any more mistypes on my part, I apologize. I cannot fix them live. Just saying. Kevin.
All right. So while I play with technology, Sarah, why don't you give us everybody a brief rundown of what did we go over to basically decide, okay, what counts and what doesn't? And Sue and Kevin, please feel free to join in as well.
And Kevin helped narrow down the field, which was quite vast, might I say. Basically, we created a chat in our group, and the group basically told us what are their favorite musicals. So we had quite a big selection. I might also point out that the 12th Night also ended up on there because apparently there's a musical version of the 12th Night. But basically we went through and we decided. So the ones that got, I think was it over 4 votes? Kevin, do you remember?
More than 3.
Automatically advanced. And then we went through the rest of the list to decide, okay, who got mentioned. We wanted to give a good mix, I guess, of, of different types of genres, important musicals, things like that. Sue had quite a bit to say over, over our decisions, some of which she won, and some of which she did not.
And I
But
think there was like a desire not to have like more than one show from a composer represented. So like there's only one Sondheim and there's only one ALDO. You know,
Well,
so
the thing is, whenever you throw something like this to the masses, you're going to get recent stuff. Can you not? Great. So that is why so much of the stuff is newer, right?
Mhm.
There's, as Felicity said, Chorus Line is the oldest thing on there. I was coming at this from a what have been the most impactful shows, which I think would skew a lot older. However,
Mhm.
if we take, the way Kevin's been phrasing it, what is DragonCon's favorite musical? That is going to be, I think, a pretty good mix of what
New and old.
we have on this list today.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is really we tried to like take into consideration that so many people have so many different tastes and so much different things. And I fought for Hammerstein. The Sound of Music almost made it on there just purely by I'm the one who was making the list. I'm just saying.
Look, I'm on the panel and my favorite musical is not on this list. So
yeah,
nobody's going to be happy. Nobody's
I
happy.
did some lobbying for Oklahoma and that didn't make the list. So I get like there's only 16 slots.
Mhm.
It's art, not science. And
Mhm.
I think I like as we go into these discussions in terms of what I vote for, the criteria is going to change from bracket to bracket. It's going to be whatever I feel like in that moment. Sometimes it'll be what was more impactful. Sometimes it'll be what I like more. Sometimes it'll be what show I got drunkest at after. We'll figure it out as we go.
Kevin, Cats is not on this list. No butt jokes, please.
There are plenty of cats in the apartment, though.
Yes, the cats are
Indeed.
well represented on this panel behind Sue's head.
Mine just started to yowl, so if you hear him yowling in the backyard, he knows that we're talking about him and his superior race. But yeah, no, basically we just pretty much decided what we wanted to do based on the members. If yours didn't show up, well, you didn't voice your opinion loud enough.
So it's your fault.
So I think it's been popular enough that we could do part 2. So
We
you
will.
never.
Yes.
Make sure you join the group if you're not already, and make sure you make your feelings known.
In reality, this is just 1/4 of a 128 show bracket.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's the problem.
All right.
But I do want to say, if you guys are all interested in theater content at the con that shall not be named, make sure you stay at the end. We're making some announcements at the end of the panel, so just saying, make sure you stay at the end.
All right.
Shall we do it? Let's do it.
I am almost done vamp for about another minute.
Okay.
I effing love 1776. I love it so much.
Yeah.
So much. And I was supposed to go to, I think it was Keystone Comic Con, and meet William Daniels. And I have an original playbill from the initial run of 1776. And I was going to go and get him to sign my 50-year-old playbill. And then there was a freaking panorama that destroyed the world.
Oh.
I'm still mad about it.
Panorama?
Yeah.
It's related to Bananarama when British pop overtook the airwaves.
I'm just gonna say, Music Man almost made it on this list, but I'm gonna be honest, I was kind of biased against Music Man, purely based on the fact that I live in the area that Music Man might be based be set in, and yeah. I will be inherently biased against said musical.
All right. Also wanted on the record that it was Sarah who pushed that we had the bracket done in advance. I was very inclined to do the classic track version of we know what ones are going to be there, and then we pull them out randomly out of a hat, just because that is the kind of mayhem that I love. But I guess we could be a little more prepared. I don't know,
I
but
put
maybe
it in a
next time.
random generator, and that is why Les Mis and Hamilton are up against each other. I don't want to hear any complaints. It was the gods that decided, as
No,
well
you
as
gotta
Rent in
seed
Hades
it.
Town.
When we get to that one, I'm gonna complain, and I get Sarah's an order Muppet and Gary's a chaos Muppet, and that's
I'm the stage manager. Hello, I want order. You must obey me. The gods have decided. Oh.
All right. So anybody, I believe we did post the brackets in advance.
We did post the brackets in advance.
So people should be ready with their arguments. All right, here we go.
Kelly says she's forced to stay at work, so we're gonna have ties. So
I missed that.
The chat is probably gonna have to do some tie breaking.
We will definitely.
Our fifth panelist, our tiebreaker. Oh well.
StreamYard should give us the option to have polls,
No,
although I don't know how that would
get
work.
Felicity
Don't
in here.
ask me to figure out more about StreamYard, Sue.
No, I was saying, let's get Felicity.
Let's go.
in
We've
here.
been doing this for 12 minutes.
Should I send Felicity to StreamYard?
Felicity, this is my vote right there. If you look at the chat, if you scroll all the way up, I said Fiddler, so I am right there with you.
All right. And now, stupid.
No, Felicity, you're not too old. You have taste.
If I were a rich man.
All right. Why doesn't... Okay, so I'm using PowerPoint, and I'm trying to get the present... There we go.
You're right, Kevin.
There we go. All right. Let me move this to where I can... screen share.
We must bow to the computer gods, aka Gary. He knows how to do this stuff.
In theory.
In theory.
I believe I know this was true at one time. I think it is still true, but I could be wrong. The 1776 was the show with the longest, or the musical with the longest amount of time between songs.
All right, Sarah, you should see it there now as a option. Bring it into the stream.
Let's drop it. Yeah.
Like when
down at the bottom where the people are.
People.
Down where the people
Can't poke us.
There should now be a screen that is Gary's computer screen.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, add to stream.
There we go.
All right.
So this is our bracket. So I will be in charge of this. Sue, I'm going to nominate you as being in charge of monitoring the comments, because I'm going to do this full screen so I can see what's going on, which means I won't see the comments. So let's
but I can't put comments on screen though.
Oh, well then, congratulations,
maybe the
Sarah.
Stage manager should be the manager of said comments. Just saying.
There we go. That works.
We're super professional.
Oh, absolutely. Winging it hasn't been my catchphrase for no reason. The other one being Gary, no. So this is our brackets. As Sarah said, she threw it in a randomizer. So I'm just going to run down it real quick here. We have the Battle of Broadway. We have our Gilbert brackets and our Sullivan brackets. On the Gilbert side, we have Into the Woods up against Wicked. We have Phantom of the Opera up against The Wiz. A chorus line up against Mamma Mia. And Beauty and the Beast versus Spamalot. So some of these are completely not fair, and I approve. On the Sullivan side, we have Les Mis versus Hamilton. Sit versus The Great Comet of 1812, Rent versus Hades Town, and Little Shop of Horrors versus Book of Mormon. Now, here's the other thing we also want to throw out there to make sure everybody's aware of. We are mainly kind of talking okay, so Sue, are we talking the biggest productions or the best productions or the original productions? Because those are not always the same.
Bring that back real quick.
Yeah.
It feels to me like we're talking about the show because
Yeah, I think we're talking about the show.
The
we're
overarching
talking
show.
about Broadway productions, right?
Mhm.
Most of these have not had more than one revival, if my memory serves. Most, not all.
Most of them, yeah.
So yeah, I think we're talking more on the merits of the show rather than any, given performance of
Mhm.
an actor in the show. However, that might sway your decision. Who knows?
And Kevin, we're not talking about improv right now, so I'm just going to say this statement is irrelevant.
All right, well, let's get this party started. Into the Woods versus Wicked.
Into the Woods. Moving on.
Bias miss.
This is the only Sondheim on this bracket. I will shout you down.
Seconded, Sue.
No.
All right, let's at least pretend to have a discussion.
Yes,
So,
please.
again, this is not the Sondheim I would have chosen. I think everybody has a pretty good idea which Sondheim I would have gone with. Sue, I know you were very, very vocal for Merrily We Roll Along.
Well, Merrily is my favorite show, but I'm the only one, and I know that.
But it is just getting revived on Broadway, so that's one thing. And Lise, I love you for a reason. I totally agree with this. See, here's the thing about Wicked. Wicked is probably the most likely to of the new shows to overtake the Phantom of the Opera's big, 35 years on Broadway. Now, mind you, they have some time. The thing about Into the Woods is it's very personal. On whether you love Into the Woods or you're like, there are too many things going on during Into the Woods. And I am of the latter category. I got lost halfway through the show. I mean, I even
Much like the characters entering the woods, it's thematic.
Exactly. And now,
it's a lot of words, but it's a lot of words for a reason.
Yeah, and now keep in mind, Felicity, we're not talking about this hybrid movie version thing that they're coming out with. It does do that, Kevin. I would agree with that. What do you think, the other Kevin?
I think Susan, you're not the only person I know who lists Merrily as their favorite Sondheim show. But what I notice is Merrily is the favorite show of Sondheim fans. It's like the people who are a fan of a band who are like, no, this B-side from 1973 is actually their best song. Not the big hit, but
not the one that went to number 3 on the charts.
And I celebrate that.
If I had a time machine, I would go see all 16 performances.
Yes. And I think, favorite Sondheim show is something reasonable people can absolutely disagree on. If I had to pick one for this, it would probably be Company, but I'm not going to hate on Into the Woods. I'm also not going to hate on Wicked. I think Wicked does what it does very well. I'm just not going to vote for it against Into the Woods. I think
okay.
Because part of it is sort of pushing forward Sondheim as a whole, but partly because I think Into the Woods is a heavier lift than Wicked.
True.
Okay.
Into the Woods is also an original musical, whereas Wicked is based on a book.
Okay,
and
but
that book,
based on an original book.
That That doesn't. It's based on an original book. No,
Well, nobody
it's not based on an original book because that book is based on another book.
Yes, but anybody who has read Wicked knows that it is nothing like the original Wizard of Oz books.
But also, anyone who has read Wicked knows that it is full of social commentary. And most
Can I just answer the question? Yes, we are voting between those two now.
Most of that commentary is lost as it transfers to a musical. And I think that is a point against it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing I really love about Into the Woods, aside from the anatomically correct wolf, is the fact that, if you stop watching at the break between the acts, it's a happy show. And then they come back and they go, and that's the whole point of it is the whole.
But that's what happened, Gary. Before it came to Broadway, people left at intermission because they thought the show was over.
Oh,
and that is when I'm serious. And like the production staff chased people out into the parking lot and told them to come back in, legit. And that is why they added the narrator at the end of Act 1 saying "to be continued," so people wouldn't leave.
Okay, because they were so sick of Into the Woods because it was so confusing.
Because they expected shows to have a happy ending, and sometimes subverts your expectations by not giving you a happy ending, but still making you love it.
But I'm going to point out that Wicked defied gravity and everybody's expectations of Wicked and how well it's been doing. I mean, it even had ABC special for its anniversary. I mean, it threw Idina Menzel into superstardom. I mean, Kristen Chenoweth, her whole outside of Broadway legacy is because of the character of Glinda. I mean, it literally created jobs, created legacies. I mean, Into the Woods is great, and I mean, it's having an amazing time on Broadway right now. But if we're talking about
it's not okay.
It has moved on.
Okay, well, it was having
an amazing time
on Broadway right now. But what is still on Broadway right now and still selling tickets and still selling out? That is Wicked.
So do you think that argument is going to work on the person whose favorite show is Merrily We Roll Along?
And have we seen Wicked cosplay at DragonCon? We have not. I'm going to point out that for good 6 months of this group's iteration, it was the genie whispering into Glinda or Galinda's ear, whispering into Elphaba's ear. There's a reason those people show up at DragonCon, and our question is, what is DragonCon's favorite musical?
Into the Woods was broadcast on PBS in full in the 80s.
Okay.
And I saw that, and I was like, wow, this is great. It's great performances. Yes. And in order to find DragonCon's favorite musical, much like DragonCon itself, you go to DragonCon and everyone makes DragonCon their own thing, their own DragonCon. And to make this my own DragonCon, I'm voting for fucking Into the Woods.
Yeah. And I believe, Sarah, I believe you misspoke because you said there was no Wicked cosplay at DragonCon. I think you meant to say,
I meant Into the Woods.
Yes.
Just because you didn't see it, that doesn't mean it wasn't there.
Okay, other than that, the puppetry track with the cow, there was no cosplay at DragonCon.
I think we should go ahead and vote because we do have other shows to get to. I am very happy how passionate everybody is on this, and I am certainly casting my vote for Into the Woods.
Gary knows he's going to get kicked out of my hotel room if he doesn't.
No bribing here.
All right, Sarah, I think you're voting for Wicked.
I'm voting for Wicked.
Kevin?
Into the Woods.
And Sue.
Into the woods.
All
Uh,
right,
I
into
wanna
the woods.
point
We'll
out-
move on. But
I
you want to
point out that when I invited Sue on this panel, she said she was going to go Sondheim all the way. So she is biased. I think she
But
should receive a demerit
I
vote.
think we're all biased. And speaking of biases, that was a terrible
I wonder
segue.
what my bias is.
Our next challenge is Phantom of the Opera versus The Wiz. Now, this one is, I never would have pitted these two against each other personally because they are so dissimilar. Like, I would have thrown in Wicked versus The Wiz. That would have been an interesting debate.
I agree.
But between the two, Kevin.
This is a hard one because, like you said, they're so different. And Phantom is really dumb and overblown, but it works. Like, I'm not going to deny that show works. It's really, but it is a deeply silly show. And like
you would say it's operatic.
Yeah, a little bit. It's a little over the top, maybe. But and honestly, like generally, I like Andrew Lloyd Webber with Tim Rice more than without Tim Rice. But this is probably the last show he did that I think is like pretty great. However, Ease On Down the Road is better than any fucking song in Phantom of the Opera, so I gotta go with The Wiz.
All right, Sarah.
You know I have to go with Phantom, even though I spent 2.5 weeks working on lyric videos for Phantom of the Opera. Show up to the sing-alongs, guys, at DragonCon, please. I put a lot of work into them. But that being said, no, Phantom is gonna always get my vote. It is an amazing musical. 35 years on Broadway. We consistently see Phantom and Christine cosplay at DragonCon, which I will remind the panelists, we are talking about at DragonCon. And may he catch you with his magical lasso if you vote against him. So
Looking to see if any chandeliers are going to drop on my head.
All right. Yeah, for me personally, this is a hard call because I think they're both important musicals. I think they're both important in different ways. Phantom did what it did. The Wiz is a fantastic retelling of the Oz story. It's got incredibly catchy songs. And so it's like I'm saying they're both really solid shows, and I'm still kind of torn. So Sue.
So okay. I worked on Phantom. So I'm just going to put that out there right now.
I'm sorry I said it was dumb.
No, it is. It is a I didn't work on like the story of Phantom. I worked on the admin of Phantom. But to the point of it being dumb and over the top, like it's a product of its time. That was Broadway in the late 80s. Like it encapsulates Broadway in the late 80s. And it has become iconic. I mean, nobody is close to catching their performance record. Chicago is the closest, and it's like 8 years behind, right? It started in 95 or 96. That being said, I'd rather see The Wiz.
You are inherently biased, though, because you've worked on Phantom, so you are over inundated with Phantom. This I call prejudice.
I'm having so much fun watching Sarah melt down. This is great.
I would rather watch The Wiz.
Don't betray me now, Lise. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Also, how about this? We need more Black Joy on Broadway.
Okay, yes, that is a valid point. Unlike you're sick of Phantom.
Yeah, but no,
that's not what I said.
Reading between the lines.
So to kind of tag off what you said there, Sue, though, the Wiz is also very emblematic of Broadway in the 70s.
Well,
Um,
do I need to put that back on?
no, I mean that's good. Yeah, but I am really, this is a hard one just for me because I do love them both. It's just, it's like trying to make me choose between steak and shrimp.
Think of the 25th anniversary cast. The
And
beautiful,
we
the
do have to
amazing.
we do have to factor in the fact that nobody beats the Wiz.
That's true.
Talk about the 80s.
All right, so
I do know.
Sarah,
how you
you're
do.
voting for the Wiz. I mean, Kevin and Sue, you're both going Wiz. So I'm going to be the spoiler and vote Phantom just so we can make the audience vote.
Yeah, audience.
All right.
So
Don't let me down.
You've got there's a slight delay, so maybe let's give him, I don't know,
we'll give them a minute.
Write it
So
in.
if you-
Phantom or the Wiz.
The Phantom Wiz.
And so someone count how many we have.
count.
I saw a few so far.
If you already wrote it, wrote
I'm
it
not
again.
looking at Facebook right
Write
now.
it again.
Okay,
That's
there's
how it
Yeah,
works.
right it is.
So right now it's tied.
Wiz, Phantom.
Another
I'm
Wiz.
not gonna show
Another
Liz.
Wiz.
Another
Phantom.
Phantom.
Oh.
No.
The suspense is terrible. I hope it will last.
I don't think. Hey, we only have 5 people watching right now, so I think Phantom has it, guys. Woo!
All right.
Remember, if you're still in line, you can still vote.
That's
All right.
that's a fair decision. Like I think that is perfect. I'm not mad at it, is what I'm trying
Okay.
to say.
All right. I'm over here celebrating my victory. Thank you.
And again,
There's only
another
one I'm gonna get real mad about, y'all.
Yeah.
I like
This is
think we
again.
know which one it is, too.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's the one we're all gonna get mad about. I'm just gonna point out.
I like most of these shows, so it's like
Mhm.
if one goes over the other, if people haven't chosen the way I've chosen, it's that's
Indeed. Yes, Felicity. Society is to blame. And very great use of that comment as this one again. This is one I never would have thrown together. Beauty and the Beast versus Spamalot.
It's
I mean, just
So
again, so different.
so we were talking about which Disney show
Mhm.
to put in this bracket. And Beauty and the Beast is the one that's here at my suggestion. And the
it
reason
did get a
for
vote
that,
in our group, though.
Right.
I just want to point out.
But
the reason I backed it in our early
Mhm.
discussion is because this show literally changed 42nd Street.
mhm.
Before Disney moved on to Broadway, it was a place you didn't want to go. It was a dangerous area. It like people weren't coming to Broadway at that
Mhm.
point. And Disney moved in, and you can say what you want, but the Disney money on 42nd Street is what created what they call the New 42, right? New 42nd Street. And it revitalized that area.
Mhm.
And it brought, for the industry, it brought family-friendly shows and tourism back to 42nd Street, and it reinvigorated Broadway in the 90s.
Mhm.
And that is why, from an industry perspective, my vote here is for Beauty and the Beast.
but we did lose the Show World Center.
Mm.
I hear and this one is tough. Like, I love Monty Python, but in all honesty, like the things I love about Monty Python are kind of like how groundbreaking it was, how they like changed comedy, and how they moved the stakes of what was possible in comedy. And I feel like what Monty Python at its best was like off the charts brilliant. And I saw Spamalot, and I thought it was a pleasant night at the theater, which was disappointing because I don't feel like Spamalot lives up to Monty Python.
You didn't find your grail?
No, I did not.
I
Whereas
feel like-
I feel like Beauty and the Beast is a much more successful version of what it's trying to be, and so I'm inclined to vote for Beauty and the Beast just based on that. because
I feel like Spamalot is sort of toned down for general audiences.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest thing with Spamalot. Now, keep in mind, I am biased on this one. And keep in mind, I did not bring up Beauty and the Beast. Sue brought up Beauty and the Beast. But Beauty and the Beast, I was a college kid under limited funds. And I chose to see Beauty and the Beast over another contender later on in the bracket, maybe coming up next, over Les Mis on my personal theater. And I had seen it twice at that point, and I went and saw it a third time. And the reason is because Beauty and the Beast, it's so inherently part of me, and like I am of that generation, like Beauty and the Beast and The Little
Mhm.
Mermaid, those were, and Lion King to a point, but they were made for my generation. And so, getting to see Beauty and the Beast on stage, out of all the Disney musicals that I have seen on stage, Beauty and the Beast inherently exemplifies what I see on the movie on stage. And that's the thing. And like, it changed Broadway. When I went to New York for the first time, Beauty and the Beast was on Broadway. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see it because I was broke college student. But as Sue said, it changed Times Square. I cannot tell you, as a kid, as somebody who grew up in New York, and Times Square was not a good place to be before this musical. So I'm also going to vote for Beauty and the Beast. So,
Yeah, and
Gary.
yeah, and I'm kind of on the same boat as what Kevin was saying. For me, Monty Python is at its best when it goes in directions nobody would expect and has teeth. And Spamalot, while it's a fun show and a fun time, and does try to do a little skewering of Broadway and tries to do a little, it just doesn't have the edge that really good Monty Python should have. And I think part of that is for toning it down for general audiences, and and the crew aging and people mellowing, and there are probably a bunch of dozen other reasons. So while it's a fun time, I wouldn't. But
Spamalot
Beauty
feels
and the
very
Beast,
safe.
yes. And I should never feel safe when I'm watching Monty Python.
No.
I will never forget a time when I was a teenager watching it with some friends, and at the end of one of the shows, where it was a magician standing there with a giant bloody saw going, "Last week I showed you how to saw a woman in half. This week I'll show you how to throw it in its 3 bits." One of my friends fell off the couch laughing just because it was so unexpected. So
Are we unanimous?
I think we're unanimous.
Yeah. Although I do want to shout out to the person in the comments who mentioned The Lion King, because while, like Sarah said, Beauty and the Beast is like everything you wanted to see from the cartoon on stage, I think what Lion King did was more impressive because it recontextualized what the cartoon did for the stage in a much better way. But I think, like Sue said, this was probably the more important show.
And
so.
I'm pretty sure Lion King did not get any votes in the group.
Yeah.
So just saying.
So we blame you, audience.
Yeah, we'll have to do part 2.
Yes.
Revenge.
So we have a Beauty and Beast blowout. All right. So
how about if part 2 is flops?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I would totally agree with you on that one. That
So
actually
Marilee can win.
I want to do fictional musicals and do like Zoo Animals on Wheels from that episode of Get a Life and The Simpsons streetcar musical.
I want to do even more fictional, like Aliens the musical. I'm just saying.
I'm holding out on. I'm trying to stall because I don't want to do this one, Gary.
It's the mashup of the British invasion.
Yes. So moving over to the Sullivan brackets. This one, I think this one hurts. At least for me.
It does not hurt for
Les
me.
Les Mis is a fantastic show. It's iconic. It's got some of the best songs. It has one of my all-time favorite lyrics, in I Dreamed a Dream, where the tigers, soft as thunder. I mean, that's just a lyric that just hit me the first time I heard it and broke me.
Mm-hmm.
And Hamilton is Hamilton. I mean, Hamilton, it revitalized, it recontextualized the race-blind casting, the things it did that nobody had done or had done at that level. And so I'm going to let somebody else talk, and I'm going to randomly pick Kevin again.
All right.
See, he never randomly picks me. Go ahead, Kevin.
As I said, this one hurts. And, Sarah, you had mentioned that you saw Beauty and the Beast over something in New York. Let me say that I once had the chance to see Hamilton when it was at the Public, and instead I went to my friend's improv show. So way to go, me. I love both of these shows. So it's I think Les Mis is probably the best of the 80s super musicals. For me, I think it does a lot of stuff really well, and it's about a lot. I think, for everything Gary said about Hamilton rings true for me. It's very rare that Broadway musicals get out of the arts section and wind up on the cover of like Newsweek or Time magazine, and Hamilton is absolutely one of those shows. I am a little struck by, at least to me, I feel like Hamilton like dated much quicker than I thought it would. I feel like Hamilton is so much a product of Obama's America, and as soon as Trump got elected, I feel like some of the shine came off Hamilton for me, which is, I don't want to downplay too much, because I feel like it is like a fantastically written show. I love all the references to hip hop, and I love all the references to classic Broadway in it. And this is really tough. I think I'm gonna go with Les Mis because of what I just said about Hamilton, and honestly, because when I was like 16, I listened to that soundtrack over and over and over again. So sometimes 16-year-old you needs to get a vote too. So I'm going for Les Mis, but I like both of these shows more than any of the shows on the other side of the bracket.
Yes, and for this, in your eye. That's what
I don't know. Did anybody catch what he just said?
No, Gary, you froze. What did you say?
You froze.
Oh, I said we called the brackets Gilbert and Sullivan just to annoy people who would ask why Gilbert and Sullivan or not. And no, there are no Gilbert and Sullivan shows.
We did discuss Gilbert and Sullivan and decided that light opera was its own category.
Yes,
right.
We did. Yeah.
So, Sarah.
Okay, so I'm going to throw it to the group here. So I'm looking at the tally right now, and out of all the shows, Les Mis by far won with eight votes, which, keep in mind, we had a lot of people voting for multiple shows in the tally. Les Mis overwhelmingly won the tally for group vote. So again, I promised the group that I was going to to point out at least their preferences, and their preferences again after this bracket was released was again with Les Mis, except for Courtney, who is not here, so she does not get a vote because she's playing D&D.
Shame.
Shame. Oh wait, wrong.
Wrong track. So you're voting Les Mis.
Not necessarily. I said I would give a voice to the group.
What a second act twist this is.
Yes.
Here's my thing about Hamilton. Personally, Hamilton is not my cup of tea musically. Okay. As much as I love Lin-Manuel, his particular writing style is not up my alley. I'm just gonna be honest here. He is not my favorite. That being said, what Hamilton has done for Broadway and for DragonCon, I mean, let's not forget, Hamilton year after year has filled up a panel, like a large ballroom panel for their sing along. I mean, that is huge in and of itself. Like, and well, getting together with people on this theater group, the biggest thing other than there was no photo shoot last year was the fact that they got told that the Hamilton sing along was going away. So I guess as the theme of the show goes, my vote goes to Hamilton.
All right, Sue, bring us home.
I have so many thoughts and opinions.
Mhm.
Oh boy. As for the concept of look what Hamilton has done for Broadway, I think that is an incorrect assumption. Because back when Hamilton was very hot, the thing is that people would pay anything to see Hamilton. And that did not spill over into other shows. People didn't want to see anything else. They wanted to see Hamilton. And that money didn't go to the show. It went to the brokers who bought up the tickets and resold them.
Mhm.
So I think it, in some ways, it hurt the rest of the season because people were only interested in seeing one thing because it got so popular.
Mhm.
That's just my anecdotal observation from that. But also in terms of like Lin-Manuel Miranda's catalog so far, I would argue that In the Heights is the more important show.
Also go to sing-alongs at DragonCon. I'm not allowed to say anything yet.
Yeah, In the Heights, especially because that's the one that got the attention.
Mhm.
That's
It
the
made
one
him a
that
name.
came out of nowhere and killed the Tony Awards that year. You know, and that's without In the Heights, we would not have Hamilton.
And what are your thoughts
Les
on Les
Mis.
Mis?
This is very difficult. Les Mis is the theater kids show, right? You get a bunch of theater fans in there and you can have Do You Hear the People Sing with every character being represented and every part being sung. There's not a song like that in Hamilton. I vote Les Mis.
My shot.
That's a solo.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
There is not an ensemble song like that
And-
powerful in
No, I
Hamilton.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
And
Good
and
point.
I dare you to find a theater kid that doesn't have a Les Mis shirt because that is such an iconic. I mean, when I was in high school drama, there was one girl once a week you could count on her wearing her Les Mis.
If you were a kid in the late 80s and early 90s and you were a theater kid, you had a Les Mis shirt and a Cats shirt. And you wore
And a
them until they
Phantom.
fell apart.
Yep.
Phantom. I'm just gonna point out there you also had a Phantom shirt.
Yeah, but in this particular battle, again, because Kevin, I think, locked it for me in that Les Mis has remained a timeless show. And Hamilton is, as much as I still love it and have it in in my music rotation, it is, aging. I'm not saying it's turning into like milk, but it's definitely one of those where it's like, yeah, it's like it's good, but the brass is kind of dulled a little.
Definitely.
So I believe we're 3-1 on Les Mis.
And Sarah loses again. That's the general theme of this event.
That's okay. Now we'll bring us to one that this is going to be tough for me because I am going to go ahead and admit I am not that familiar with either one of these shows. So I'm going to need you guys to lead me on this one. Sarah, I'll start with you.
And now we're one. Guys, there's no doubt. I haven't seen Great Comet. I'm going to point out that Kevin voted for this in the group chat, so I think we know where his vote lies.
I lobbied hard.
But No, I 100% agree. 6 is our overarching, if we are going to talk about DragonCon. And I will again remind the panelists that we are talking about DragonCon's favorite musical here. That 6 by far overcomes the hurdles that Great Comet was, which is I had to remind myself of this show. I knew of its existence, but I didn't remember what it was. I'm like, oh, isn't that the opera guy in it? The one who sang with Celine Dion. That's literally what I forgot Great Comet existed. Whereas 6, I mean, it is a female powered musical that has overcome so much. I mean, it literally was, what was it, set to open, or was it previews the first when Broadway closed? Sue, you would know.
Oh, I think it maybe had just opened.
Yeah, no,
It was
I
very
think
early
it was
in its
like
run.
it was like its literal like first night. I can't remember whether it was its first preview or its first like official show.
Mhm.
But it was literally set to open the night Broadway closed.
Oof,
Um
that's rough.
see,
Okay,
I
yeah.
have an answer here. But here's the thing about 6 as well. There's a reason that this is our show of the season at the group. This is the reason it is our badge, our ribbon for the year. Which, if you haven't seen it, it's on the page. It's amazing. I might be biased, but it, I have not seen a more embraced show at con than I've seen at 6 since Cats, when we saw a bunch of people in Cats costumes uh sneaking around con, making mischief. uh every day last con um I saw 6 cosplay, and consistently on the boards, when I see Broadway cosplay brought up, I see 6. I vote for 6.
All right, Sue.
The first time I saw Great Comet, it was off Broadway in what was essentially a tent. They
Oh,
named
wow.
it Casino. They served you borscht,
Ooh.
and like the bathrooms were in trailers. So I have been with this show since very, very early on. It was in the parking lot next to to one of the theaters. I think maybe the one next to the Imperial. And then they went into, I think it was the Imperial, and totally like ripped apart the orchestra and made the theater bananas because of all the different kinds of staging they wanted to do. And this is, I think it's what, an 80-page segment of War and Peace.
Yes.
That I couldn't remember the length, and my cat is trying to eat Legos. And it's just it's fascinating and interesting, and it's the show that brought us Philippa Sue Hamilton fans. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yep.
Yes,
we know
are.
we know who the cat's voting for.
That being
She's
said,
protesting.
really, you are correct
Cats.
that 6 is an incredibly popular show. It has a huge fandom. It has cosplay. It is. This is kind of how I think of Wicked too. It is exactly what its demographic wants, right?
And before we
it knows
vote,
that is, and it goes for it hard, and it hits it 100%. But when you look at 6 for what it is, it is a pop concert. There is no plot.
I would disagree with that.
Great Comet gets my vote.
Okay, I would disagree
Boom,
with
I'm
that.
high-fiving you, Sue.
I am disagreeing, and I have a point to bring up that I didn't bring up before. You know, we all talk about like Alex and I'm terrible with names and I cannot remember his name. The other non-binary Tony winner this season, which was amazing and awesome. And the very first non-binary Tony winner was the lyricist on 6. That is amazing in and of itself. Leaps and strides for LGBTQIA plus representation on as far as Broadway goes was made by him. Yes, Alex, amazing, the first non-binary actor to win a Tony, but the fact of the matter is 6 also brings together like the whole her story and the aspect of you have to think about what these women went through. And if you listen to this soundtrack, that is the story. The sound, what makes it a musical is the story. Okay. The character of Anne Boleyn, don't lose your head. Okay. Or when you listen to Catherine Howard sing about what she went through with the men that loved her, that is the story of 6.
Each of the women tells their own story,
but
that doesn't give the musical a plot. It's a concert.
Yes, but that doesn't mean that there's not a plot. The plot is that in the end, and spoiler, if you have not seen 6 and don't want to be spoiled, turn off the audio now. I will count to 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. The plot of 6 is that that in the end they all were mistreated by Henry, and Henry isn't the important one. The important one is their stories and what they all went to make it her story.
But it's not a plot.
But it is a plot. It is a plot.
All right, Kevin.
First of all, shout out to the American Repertory Theater in Cambridge, Massachusetts, because both of these shows did their pre-Broadway runs there. So big thumbs up to them. This is not a shock, but I'm voting for Natasha Pierre in The Great Comet of 1812 because in terms of what the DragonCon demographic of me wants, it's a big, weird fucking show that is based on an 80-page snippet of War and Peace that has 1 billion characters, that is a huge swing that on paper should not work, and yet absolutely does, and is kind of like about the power of human kindness. Like, I love this show. I absolutely love Natasha Pierre in The Great Comet of 1812. I think 6 is fun, but I think it is slight. And I think it is more clever than profound. It's, it's historical figures, but they're making jokes about Snapchat. And it's, I get why it's popular. The costumes are fun. The songs are catchy. But to me, there's no there beyond like kind of a surface level girl power feminism.
Yes.
So
yes.
I got to go with Natasha Pierre in The Great Comet of 1812 just because it is weird and difficult and exactly what I wanted to see when I saw it. I was genuinely moved by it.
Cool. All right, so I'm going to play spoiler again and vote for 6 simply so that we can throw it to the audience.
Well, 6 is going to win. So.
Can you put Kevin's recent comment on the screen about my cat?
Okay, hold on. Where did it go?
Because I just want to address this. He says that my cat already ate the top half of the Saturn rocket back here. That is mostly true. During a stream earlier this week, she knocked that over, and all of the pieces of Legos are in a bag sitting off camera, so I can fix it later. She is a chaos goblin.
Like
If you
most
want it.
cats.
All right, so audience, time to vote. Is it 6 or is it the great what is it?
The Great
Comet
Comet.
of
Natasha Pierre and the Great
1812.
Comet of 1812.
And it gave us Philippa Sue, and it also gave us Amber Gray, who was the best thing
Yes.
about Hades Town.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh. Hey, now, no playing dirty here. I'm just saying.
are you kidding? We've done nothing
We-
but play dirty.
6.
Oh, Comet.
6. Comet.
Yeah, Felicity.
Hey, Felicity, you're biased. I'm just gonna point that out.
It's just anybody who disagrees with you called biased. That's not how that works.
I do. But Felicity is
That's her
Kevin's friend,
bias.
just pointing out.
All right, so. Whoop. All right.
I
so
think-
we
I think
have-
it's the Great Comet. It's
Oh,
Comet.
Amelie shout out. That makes
Wow.
me sad. I did not enjoy that show.
Hmm. All right,
Sorry.
so we will go on now to another one.
Oh.
Rent versus Hades Town. And
Welcome.
please send your hate mail to a podcast of Amadiato at gmail.com. I don't like Rent. I think it is an amazing show. I think it's what it did and what it represents. You cannot undersell. I think it's a landmark show that has to be respected. Personally, I agree with Lindsay Ellis. If you want to know my full feelings, because I don't have a 20-minute video essay that she does on why I don't care for Rent, whereas Hades Town, just Hades alone, all his songs grip me. And I think that's another emotionally moving show. So I respect Rent, but I'm voting Hades Town. Kevin.
I will explain why Rent sucks.
Okay.
And I will also explain why theater kids don't think that. Because Rent is a show that is genetically engineered to appeal to theater kids. Because basically the point of the show is that artsy theater kids are more special than everyone else and shouldn't have to do things like pay rent. So that's why they like it. I hate this show with the fiery passion of 525,600 suns. Fuck it in the ear. Whereas Hades Town, I love. Hades Town is the last show I saw before things shut down, before the pandemic on Broadway. It was the last show I saw with like the full Broadway cast. I think the things about Hades Town that work really, really well, especially the Hades Persephone stuff. The Hades Persephone stuff in Hades Town is some of the best musical theater I have seen in a long time. Andre DeShields as Hermes was so good. I will say that Orpheus, the stuff with Orpheus is kind of a drip, and that sort of takes the show down a little notch for me. But because it's up against fucking Rent, I'm voting for Hades Town.
Sue, you look like you're gonna have a
shit.
fit. Please
Oh
go.
my gosh. That was incredible.
I think me and Sue might be on the same angel team.
Well, I'm going to start my piece with I also don't like Rent. But so my feelings about Rent are very complicated. You know, queer theater kid in the 90s, like Rent was everywhere. If I have to ever sing Seasons of Love one more time, I'm gonna, I don't know, lose it. Anytime I hear that chord somebody plays on the piano, I tell them to stop. I can't stand it. But like on a more deep, truly emotional level, this is gonna sound like a weird sentence. I lost a lot of friends to Rent. Rent sort of glorified a it glorified drug use. And I'm not talking about marijuana, but it glorified kind of all drug use. And there were friends of mine who loved the show so much and wanted to be like the characters, who literally started abusing substances, and it could be tied directly back to Rent. So like I said, very, very complicated for me. From a wider perspective, this was, I mean, it's La Boheme, but it's an AIDS story on a Broadway stage in the 90s. And that's a big fucking deal. It also popularized rush and lottery tickets. It changed Broadway ticketing forever. And as much as I'd rather be at a performance of Hadestown any night of the week, because of its importance, my vote goes to Rent.
Here's
Sarah?
the thing, and I'm going to point out, I love Hadestown. I am a Greek girl, okay? So, like, mythology runs in my blood, okay? I have been listening to this soundtrack on repeat, okay? And I will point out that Hades, when he does that little, like, thing in his thing, is like when Eurydice says, I want to know how that feels, I'm just like, goosebumps right there. Okay, so, but here's the thing. Rent, as somebody in the community, Rent was the first time that I felt seen. Okay, and we'll circle back to our last panel, which, if you haven't seen, is the Queer Revolution on Broadway. You should definitely go see it. It's on our YouTube. Maureen was who I wanted to be in high school. Somebody who did not give a fucking shit about what people thought about her. And Angel, you cannot tell me, like, 99% of the time, I had no idea what a drag queen was. As somebody who grew up in Christian school, I had no idea what a drag queen was until I saw Rent. And I saw Angel on that screen just being the selfless, amazing person that she was on that screen. Or stage, and in this case, I saw it, spoiler alert, I saw it first on the slime tutorial, as they would call it now. But at this point, like, here's Rent exemplifies everything that I wanted my world to be, except for the drugs and the AIDS. Okay, which I know is a huge underending plot of Rent. But the fact of the matter is those characters made me who I am today. And as Courtney would point out, as somebody who did her dissertation on Hamilton, there would be no Hamilton, there would be no Six, there would be no a lot of these modern musicals if Rent did not exist today. Rent brought maybe some not so happy themes back to prominence on Broadway, and for that reason, Rent will always get my vote. And I love Hadestown. I just want to say, I would not have put these two together.
Yeah, and so as much as I hate to do it, I just, because of all the things like Sarah and Sue just said, as much as I would rather vote for Hadestown, and I would much rather see Hadestown, for me, Rent is the show that kind of has to move forward for me because of all that. But I also want to say, once again, everything that Kevin said, I am 100% on board. So this was a tough one. And oh, wait, well, go back.
Go. The PowerPoints were rebelling.
Uh-oh.
Revenge of the computer. We didn't see it with the bracket enough. Do
All right, let's see.
I
here.
need to do this again?
Yeah,
Probably.
let me. Probably. Let me. All right. Look. What? Why are
And
you
yes,
dragging
Anthony
me?
Rapp is an excellent guest.
Yes, Anthony
He's
Rapp is
amazing.
an amazing person.
And I just want to point out that when I went up and gave our rent ribbon to him and Wilson Cruz last con, like they were literally like floored with that particular particular ribbon, because the fact of the matter is rent is such a big part of both of them, and therefore such a big part of Star Trek in and of itself, because they were both Angel.
Right.
If nobody knows, Wilson Cruz was Angel on the touring company of Broadway. Obviously, Anthony Rapp
All
was
right.
Mark.
All right, Sarah, bring it back up. You
I'm
should
bringing
see
it back
the
up.
first bit. There we go. Our final competitors. Again, wildly different tastes. Little Shop of Horrors versus the Book of Mormon. And I got to tell you, it's, again, different flavors. They're both irreverent. One is certainly darker than the other. But they're both have their dark points for sure. And Sue, go ahead.
When Mormon came back post-pandemic, they had made some changes to it.
Okay.
And because, it doesn't, what am I trying to say? The original script and songs and everything didn't age well. I'll put it that way. There is, and they tried to revamp it a bit, and I have not seen it since that happened. I thought it was enjoyable. Same thing for Little Shop. This is the one bracket where I didn't look at it and immediately have an answer.
All right,
So
Sarah?
think of go back to DragonCon then. And you want me to go next?
Based on DragonCon's favorite musical, which is what I have to come back to if I don't have an instant gut reaction, I'm going to go with the sci-fi musical.
All right, Sarah, I want you to go next.
Okay, so here's the thing. Again, girl grew up in a Christian school. Book of Mormon is everything I would want from a musical that mocked the Mormon church. Let's be honest. The hello, my name is Elder Price gets me every single time, because I was the kid who had them knocking at my door. Okay, every single time. And I think they did an amazingly well version of something that you wouldn't think would do well. Okay, Book of Mormon, I feel like as far as Broadway goes, it is not like what I would think would be super successful, but it is. I mean, it has stood the test of time. Again, on Broadway, it has stood the test of time. However, if we're talking about DragonCon, Little Shop of Horrors, I mean, how many Audrey 2s do you see on day in, day out? I am still trying to get somebody with an Audrey 2 cosplay to march in our parade group, because while it is a puppet, it is also a Broadway show. And the fact of the matter is every year, it seems I seem to see more and more Little Shop of Horrors cosplay. I see it more and more represented at DragonCon, and for that reason, I mean, Little Shop is gonna get my vote.
Kevin?
I like both of these shows roughly the same. I don't necessarily care what I think DragonCon's favorite musical is. I booked my hotel room. I'm going to DragonCon. I care what my favorite musical is. I'm going to be there too.
We're kicking Kevin off the panel after this one.
No.
So I think I think I would go with Little Shop. I just think it has a slightly stronger collection of songs.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too, because as much as Book of Mormon is fun, it has I Believe and Turn It Off, great songs. Whereas as the kids would say, every song in Little Shop of Horrors is a banger.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of the first ones when I saw the movie adaptation. It was one of the ones that solidified I like Broadway. I like musicals. I like this kind of stuff. I love that performance. I love the story.
The movie came first.
Yeah.
No,
like the
movie.
Like the 50s movie?
No, the 50s version was first, and I thought that it went to theater and then they did the movie adaptation, but I could be wrong. But yeah, so again, I gotta vote Little Shop. So I think Little Shop moves forward.
Yep.
All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing to reconfigure the.
All right, let me take this.
To reconfigure the brackies.
If my mouse will work. Technical issues. All right, I took us off the screen. All right.
So that was our first set of rounds, and I think that went pretty well. And as Kevin and Sue, as veterans of these things, from here it should move a lot faster.
We'll lightning round this shit.
When did the movie come out?
80 something,
86, 87, around there.
Somewhere around there. Because I remember the big brouhaha was when they made the movie, they changed the ending to give it the happy ending.
Yes.
The play doesn't. Ooh.
We'll miss you, Felicity, even if you're biased. I love you. I just met you online.
So the original production off Broadway was 1982. So.
And the movie was 86.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And let's be honest, what's his name?
But it didn't hit Broadway until 2003.
Yes. Really made that movie. Like
Rick Moranis?
Yeah, he really wouldn't be. It really wouldn't have been the cult phenomenon. I think it would have.
Oh, no, it's 100% Ellen.
Him.
It's 100% Ellen. Her, Audrey.
Yeah.
Yeah, just...
Hi, Felicity.
Right.
Well, we're not done, Kevin. Don't go away.
Well, I couldn't do the verses of the second round until we went through the first round.
Come on, Gary. You should be working this behind the scenes.
We were talking.
I'm gonna look for the teeny tiny mini Legos that
I think Lise left me. All
right, so Wicked lost. Phantom. Did Phantom win?
I don't know. You're supposed to be keeping tally of this, not me. Phantom won.
What was Phantom up against?
Phantom won. Phantom won.
Yes, it was up against the Wiz. It was a tough one. All right, so bracket first.
Okay, good. Because Kevin, I told you I would not be sorry to see you in the comments, and I hope we'll see you on the group as well. Because theater track may not exist yet, but we're trying at the con that shall not be made.
We completely missed 2 shows, so we're just gonna skip them and move on.
What did we miss?
Chorus Line versus Mamma Mia.
Okay, audience, vote now. Chorus Line versus Mamma Mia.
I'll explain that. I generally don't like jukebox musicals, but I think Mamma Mia works. And the reason Mamma Mia works is because ABBA songs are so vague and non-specific that you can slot them in to a jukebox musical very easily. And also they're wall-to-wall bangers. Whereas something like, like Jagged Little Pill, it's like, oh, well, we got to get ironic in here because it was a hit, but it doesn't fit anywhere in this dumb story we're trying to tell. So having said that, I think Chorus Line is better.
Okay.
Sue?
Sorry, what?
Chorus
Did we miss
Line
one?
versus Mamma
We
Mia.
did miss one.
Yep.
Oh, Chorus Line,
Okay.
please.
A Chorus Line, completely. A Chorus Line gets my vote. I love Mamma Mia. Don't get me wrong. I love a good Meryl Streep moment, but I think, as much as Mamma Mia was amazing on the tour, and I mean, I'm pretty sure that it's been in Des Moines more than anything other than potentially Phantom. Chorus Line, I mean, when you saw after the pandemic, the the commercials about returning to New York, they used music from a Chorus Line. Chorus Line brought us Kelly Bishop, who, if you don't remember any, what was it, late 90s, early 2000s love of Gilmore Girls, was Grandma Gilmore. um, the fact of the matter is a Chorus Line, 100%.
All right. So we are ready.
So did you
There.
put Chorus Line on there?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Protective of a Chorus Line.
I don't think anyone's voting Mamma Mia here.
No.
Nope.
I thought you had, and then you switched on me at the end. It's like, oh, that was a great defense. Oh, okay.
Third act
All right.
reveal. Okay.
All right. So just bring it up, Sarah.
Okay, I'm doing it now.
All right. So a reminder of our original brackets and our first face-off.
It's the 1988 Tony Awards all over again.
And we already know who wins this one, so moving on.
This time, the rightful winner will take the prize. Into the woods.
Into the woods.
Magical Live.
voting-
How do you win?
I'm voting
Best-
Metallica for best metal album over Jethro Tull, and I'm voting for Into the Woods over Phantom.
Kevin, I'm not even going to put your comment up on screen. Thank you.
Into the Woods won best book and best score. That makes it best musical.
No.
Which brings us to Beauty. We've had this litigation. We're moving on.
Let me have my say here.
All right. Go ahead.
Okay, so again, when you talk about DragonCon, which again, I will remind the panelists, I need a bad ribbon to say, I will remind the panelists. We're talking about DragonCon here, not our personal biases.
We are the representatives of DragonCon that you chose to be on this panel.
I
And
did
you've
not
got-
choose
you've
anything.
got-
I will point out that Gary chose both of you.
Like Gary chose to be on this panel. Gary is a track director. I am a volunteer and attending pro and an eternal member. I'm a DragonCon triple threat. We are your representatives. That's our favorite musical out of that matchup. That's DragonCon's favorite musical. Fight me.
I'm an attending pro, and I once saw Star Wars 4 times in one day. So
So what does that have to do with Broadway?
And I'm not wearing sleeves. So
I did not work on 2 days of prima donna to not get my say on the fact that DragonCon loves Phantom, and I am gonna bring next time. I am gonna bring Jen on this panel and Kurt and make them say what I feel. No, I get it. I lost. Sure. Confusing musical for the win. There we go.
all right. So that brings us to a weird matchup: Beauty and the Beast versus a Chorus Line.
Chorus Line.
Chorus Line.
Sarah?
This one's hard for me.
Go with your gut.
I guess the Beauty and the Beast, and I'm gonna lose again.
I'm gonna throw it to the audience.
Okay, audience, don't let me down. I gave you Into the Woods, Kevin.
I'm an attending professional, and I've seen Sleep No More over 50 times.
And
I vote for
every
chorus
single
line.
panel I have you slotted on, Kevin. I am the person who controls panelists.
Oh, this is getting heated. All right.
I'm not actually mad,
No.
except I will fight for Sondheim.
Least,
looks
Least,
like,
are you sure you don't want to change your vote here? At least,
So,
all right.
thought
Chorus
that.
line.
real quick
Hey,
while
we
we're
got
on this
one more
panel.
vote here. Kevin, are you going to vote or not?
Kevin
I said
voted chorus line.
yeah.
Yeah, it's chorus line.
While we're on this slide, though, real quick, does everybody know why it's a chorus line?
No.
So it would be first in the listings in the paper. Alphabetically. It was just chorus line, and then they added the A, so it would be the first show listed.
That I applaud that cleverness.
They should have called it Aardvark's chorus line. Just to be safe.
All right, that brings us now to Les Mis versus The Great Comet.
Les Mis.
Les Mis.
Les Mis.
Les Mis. That's I saw that one coming as a clean sweep. As much as we fought for Great Comet, it's Les Mis.
Look,
Les Mis.
I love Great Comet, but
Rest in peace, 6. By
And
the way,
now
July
Rent,
panel.
Rent versus Little Shop.
Rent. Just kidding. Little Shop.
And he throws it out of nowhere. Rent.
I gotta go Little Shop,
I have to pick Rent.
which means we go to the audience.
Not an option right now, Kevin. I just saw your message.
No, we have.
I can't see them because I'm not watching it.
All right,
Thank
we've
you,
got
Lise.
two rents.
So out of the 3 people who are watching currently,
and Anthony Rapp. So yes,
Yeah.
Oh.
I think Anthony Rapp counts as a vote for Rent.
yes.
a
Yeah.
little shop of
Oh,
horrors.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So Rent comes out on top, and I do now want someone to write the modern day sequel to Rent. To Rent, T-O Rent, and make that your new.
The rent is too damn high.
How we gonna pay?
It's a show called Torrent, and it's about bootlegging movies.
I like that.
All
That
right.
would be early 2000s Rent. I'm just gonna say you called it LimeWire.
All right, so we are now coming to our semi-final.
Oh, let's just do it.
They're watching the comments and they see them before me. But yes, I agree, Kevin.
In this economy,
Yeah, we can't have 2 shows in this economy.
Eggs. There we go. That should be the panel.
oh man, Mortgage
The
would be a
musical.
really boring show.
So what's next? Is it Into the Woods versus?
Hey, now we're not
Chorus
skipping. We're gonna give him time to get his little graphics going.
versus
After
is it?
Let's do a dance break. I don't remember who's up
Well,
against who.
while we
I'm
wait
not-
for Gary,
Uh-huh.
other people and chat, what is your favorite song from a Broadway show, Sarah?
We're
Oh
ready
God,
there.
you had to pick me.
Yep.
Sue, do you have a favorite song?
It changes regularly. But right now it's Everybody Says Don't.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. I'm trying to decide. I'm gonna be honest. If I have to think about songs that I think of from my childhood, there are 2 that pop up. How do you solve a problem like Maria? And If I Were a Rich Man, and I can't choose to choose, and those are the two, like, again, and they're post 1970s musicals that I would have loved to do that on this, and I do think there should be a part 2.
We're gonna be kicked off this panel.
Yeah. Mind you, I am the holder of the keys to the panel. But yeah, no, it would either be Maria or if I were a rich man, it would hands down.
Yeah. And I, at this particular moment, am going to pick Epiphany from Sweeney Todd.
Again,
All
another
right.
one I just haven't been able to get into. I love Angela Lansbury. Just gonna point that out.
All right, Sarah, if you will throw it up, we are at our semifinals, and the first one is Gonna Hurt.
No, why did I put them on separate sides? I should have manipulated the computer.
I finally don't have to pick Rent.
Yeah, same here. It's like as much as I respect and love Les Mis, I hate Rent more.
Do you hear the people sing? They're singing for Les Mis.
Sarah?
I mean, it already won.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the rebel and say down with man, and I'm gonna vote Rent.
It deserves the vote. I will say that. Which brings us to our this one, another one that hurts.
Of
And
course,
there's
line.
two.
Of course, line.
Into the Woods, Sue, I'm assuming.
Into the Woods, yes.
Kevin?
Into the Woods.
Into the Woods. And so we go into the finals.
This is the panel where Sarah loses everything.
This is Into the Woods versus Les Mis,
You know,
right?
all that work that I do for the group.
See, you made fun of my democracy doesn't work line before, Sarah, but now I think it's starting to make sense.
Kelly, where are you? I needed you. You would not have voted for Rent.
All right. As you see, I did not even bother trying to hide the manipulations. Let's just get right down to the finals. So, ladies and gentlemen, after running half an hour late, we have reached our conclusion. And this is a tough one for me, but so I will let Sarah start.
Do we have to ask me? I
have to ask each one of you.
Confusing musical versus amazing, like groundbreaking musical about real life history. I'm gonna vote Les Mis, 100% all the way.
All right,
and DragonCon's votes Les Mis too. It won in the polls.
If you put a post in a Facebook group and said, "What are your favorite musicals?" and people said Les Mis, that's not a win in a poll. That's not a vote.
It is a vote. Democracy in and of its finest.
As we have determined,
a small sampling of people who are in the group actually saw the post, and an even smaller sample commented.
Everybody had a chance to voice their opinion. It's not my fault if they did not use it. Go ahead.
All right, Kevin.
Ooh, my head is saying Into the Woods, but my heart is saying Les Mis, and I'm going to go with my heart.
I love you, Kevin.
All right, and so then I am once again going to be the spoiler and vote for Into the Woods, so that we have to throw it.
You don't count.
So we have to throw it to the audience. So let's let the watchers decide. And if you're watching in the future on YouTube, this is why you should have been here live. You could have voted. So don't come whining to me.
It's not like one winning and the other not means either of them are bad.
True.
Let's just put that out there.
Lise,
Mo-
don't let me down.
I'm
most
gonna
of
say
most of
my
these shows
favorite.
are great.
Yeah, there isn't a single show on here aside from Rent that I don't like and would not watch. I
Looks
would
like-
gladly watch all
I
of
think
them.
Les Mis won. I'm just pointing out we have 3 people watching.
Yeah, we have 1 vote for Woods, 2 votes for Ms., and Kevin refuses to vote. He loves them both. So, ladies
Wait,
and
is
gentlemen,
that Facebook user the same person though? Are those 2 votes the same vote?
let me take a look.
Probably not, but if they are, it's just the person's canceling themselves.
Yeah,
out.
that's true.
Their last vote was it for a Les Mis. I'm gonna point that out. Miss Bias.
Look, I fully admit that whatever the Sondheim show that was going to be on this bracket, it was what I would vote for the entire time.
Oh yeah.
Because
is-
if I rank all of my musicals, all of the Sondheim shows are at the top. Even shit like The Frogs. It's all the way up
Oh,
there
yeah.
because it's Sondheim.
He votes Les Mis. Ah! Yes.
But I
All right.
fully understand why someone wants the winner to be Les Mis and why it is a good choice.
Yes.
Indeed. So, ladies and gentlemen, our winner and crying champion.
Maybe me. That's crying, actually.
We did it, everybody.
We have determined that the greatest Broadway show of all time
That's a
is
big
something that'll be
statement.
discussed by other people who are not us. But the winner of this silly little get-together is indeed Les Mis.
The first time I saw Les Mis, I started crying when Fantine died in Act 1.
So you
And
started
I kept
early.
crying through the entire show. And I cried through dinner at Sabaros. And I cried through the train ride home.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna share my own comment because I don't know how to put things on a banner on the bottom of the screen. But the tease that I promised is right there. Our panelist form for on-site panels is now open, and if you are watching this, I really hope that you guys will apply to be panels. We have things from Hadestown. If you're a lover of Hadestown, we have fandom musicals. We have Phantom of the Opera. We even have the one that I expected to see on there, but never showed up. Rocky Horror. So I really hope that we get some panelists. Sue, Kevin, I'm gonna lock you into some of these panels this morning.
Are you saying the form is unnecessary for us?
No,
Yes.
you will still fill out the form. Stage manager says, but just saying, no. There you can see the first 8 of our late you can see the first 8 of our show at con panels and who is kindly hosting them as far as official tracks go. We do have some potential other ones, nothing official yet. I haven't been given the all clear by those tracks, but hopefully we'll get some other ones in there. And we do have 2 sing-alongs, one hosted by Gary and myself. It, it's going to be an amazing show. If you are at all interested in a theater track at DragonCon, this is the year to show up. This is the year, I'm going to say it, rate it 5 stars. Say in the comments you want a theater track, because the fact of the matter is we have 800 plus members, all who love theater. There's no reason that theater should not be considered a part of pop culture and should not be represented at the con that we all love.
Indeed. And so if you're watching on the Facebooks, please give this a heart react. If you're watching in the future on the YouTube, please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, do all your social media obligations. Share this, share the Facebook group, share the Facebook page. As Sarah said, when we get to con, rate us in the app, make those comments. Please be positive. Please don't be rude. The con people don't like it if we're rude to them. And I look forward to seeing everybody at con. It is 70 some days.
Yeah, hold on.
I think it's
Dragon
less
Con.
70 days more.
than
1 day more. 69 days, 20 hours, 12 minutes, and 36 seconds.
Allow me to say, nice. All right.
Or but DragonCon starts on Tuesday. Just gonna say that. No, and seriously, guys, if you guys are in the comments, I really hope you guys will sign up to be potential panelists for us this con. We love you. If you aren't going to con, we have digital panelist form. It is
Vote for the cat. Vote for the cat.
We do have digital panelists. I constantly need them. You can also always send myself or Gary a message if you have any panel ideas. Our DMs are open.
If you know what she means. In that she wants you to
No more
send a
panel.
nice message. Anyway, so
no pictures, please.
Sarah, thank you once again. Kevin, Sue, it was a pleasure having you both here. I will definitely do more with you both in the future, but you knew that. So
pick me up from the airport.
Yep.
Oh, you pick up from the airport, Gary?
I do.
I'm the one with the legacy room.
So am I. Team Hyatt, thank you.
Yeah, but I'm the one with the legacy room that Gary sleeps in.
And before this gets us into any trouble, I'm going to say thank you all for
different
coming.
bed.
Yes. No,
with his fiance.
Yes. Kevin's just over there going, I'm not getting any part of it.
Look, I stay in the I guess it's the Cortland Grand now, so
rest in peace, Sheraton.
Yeah, I'm confused about my room. So
do you have a room? Does the hotel exist?
As long as it doesn't get a pool unexpectedly on one of the floors in the middle of the night. Thank you everybody for watching now and in the future. I'm repeating myself at this point, so I'm just going to say adieu.